Hello and welcome to the show. Yes, it's Halloween and this is a special Halloween episode, obviously, and I'm joined by Laura Hope.
Or the undead Laura Hope, rather. The corpse of Laura Hope.
Can you tell these fine people who exactly you have dressed up like?
Pretty much a witch with no hat, because I didn't have time to get a hat. So we watched Hocus Pocus the other night, and I've never seen it before. And I got... All good? Yeah. I got really, really into it, and now I want to be a witch forever. And I don't mean like a real life.
Sorry.
Like...
Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
And if you're joining us live on Facebook and YouTube, Mazel tov.
Mazel. Enjoy our spooky beers.
And I hope you appreciate the work that went into creating this little Halloween cave that we made.
Yes, we've got decorations. I'm a total Halloween kid, so I'm totally delighted by your willingness to go over the top somewhat about Halloween just to do a podcast. So,
and just a little shout out because I got an episode sort of preview image made up with both of us, and I took my ideas to Chelsea from Am I Right Ladies podcast. So check that out if you have whichever app you use to listen to podcasts, then search for Am I Right Ladies. It's great. Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
She helped us out with the image and
it's super cool and I love it. It's
taking
great.
some of the ideas from enjoying Beetlejuice.
Yes, and she did a really good job and it's gorgeous. So yay, cool, sweet. I didn't realize she had a podcast as well.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Awesome.
You know, everyone has a podcast.
Ooh. Well, out of 100% people present, then technically yes, except for the pumpkin. He doesn't have a podcast yet.
I saw a headline from an article, and I didn't want to read it in fear of like being in a saturated market. It was to do with podcasts, and it was a satire, sort of news thump type post. And it was basically saying by the year 2001, everyone to have a podcast.
That's funny.
And yeah, probably is pretty true at this point.
I think it depends what group of people you're talking to, because some people I talk to, they still think it's basically magic, and other people, it's like, yes, we literally all have podcasts. So, oh hey, it's us in the thing.
Just checking to see if we're all okie dokie. Yep, and it's fine.
You're looking very pale though. Would you like to tell the viewers/listeners what you're dressed up as?
Well, I don't know. I kind of left it pretty late to decide what I was going to be.
Till like 45 seconds ago, basically.
And I have a very funny story about doing that before a party. It might not be funny to you or anyone else, but it was definitely one of those you had to be there type moments. So I love It's Always Sunny, so I'm a zombie Charlie Kelly.
I like it. I think it's great. We put together what we had, and that was what we got. I've got white makeup and fake blood and a shirt that says "Creep It Real."
Yeah, we pretty much looked in the wardrobe and was like, I'll make this out of that. And that's what it was.
And it works because we're going to a Halloween party next week where the theme is zombie whatever you want. So we can build on it.
Plus, Laura got to slap me in the face with blood.
I did. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was weird.
She was like, "You're covered in blood," and I was like, "Your hands are actually blood red at this point."
Yeah.
If someone walks in, it's just going to look like
I
you
done a
murdered
moida.
me. You've Stephen Averied me.
And I totally stepped that pumpkin to death earlier as well.
Yeah.
So
Check
I'm
out the
on
pumpkin.
some sort of spree. We need to name him.
Yeah.
We can't just call him Pumpkin.
And this is going to be a short episode, but please continue to the end because we have something quite hopefully unique.
Ooh.
Maybe even possibly scary happening towards the end, so we'll figure that out. But it's
not to oversell it, but you might actually hear our deaths, so that's cool.
Or
that would be novel. Or see if you're watching. Yeah. Sweet.
So yeah, you are Canadian.
I am.
And Halloween always seems to be a huge deal in North America compared to here. Yeah, like and you always seem on top of that when you're here and it's Halloween, you always gravitate towards wanting to do something, even though I've never really see you as a traditional type person.
I'm not, and I'm pretty disinterested in most holidays, to be honest. Like, I'm not a huge anything person in terms of the holidays. I don't really mind if I'm not involved in stuff usually, but Halloween is I love Halloween.
Yeah.
And I have such good memories of it from when I was a kid. Just like it's the magic of it and like the spookiness and that one night when you get to be out after dark and there's weird stuff happening and everything's topsy-turvy. And
the way you're talking about it is if it's Christmas to a lot of people in the world.
No, I have the Christmas feeling about Halloween. And Christmas is nice, but I have the Christmas feeling for Halloween. I'm a Halloween kid.
Begs to your pagan roots, I guess, as a
witch. I think I always liked like the magic aspect of it as a kid, and I think that's kind of connected to like its deeper roots.
But the last episode was with Smithy and Kieran McNairn, and as they were leaving, they made like Smithy made a throwaway comment about what's up with all these girls, and sounds like a plane going over.
I think it's a motorcycle.
A motor plane. He made a throwaway. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Professionalism is not this.
Is that a dog barking 3 kilometers away?
Squirrel.
Stop the presses.
And yeah, he made a throwaway comment about what's with all these girls thinking they're all pagan and witchy, and it just it made me like laugh so hard.
Well, there is definitely, I think, like there are like people selling like quote unquote like pagan kits on like Amazon or something where you get like a crystal and like some sage, and I just think it's really, I think it's the same.
Whoever thought of that as an absolute capitalist mastermind?
I know, it's just like the commodification of absolutely everything, and it's like, you like nature, we'll sell you nature. Like, you like unseen and mystical forces, we'll sell you those.
Yeah, it's not like you could get those things individually yourself and be still pagan, but you need someone to tell you that it is packaged and is for pagans. So that makes it's like that kind of,
it's like curated for the discerning pagan. But no, I know it's like something we're both drawn to in kind of a more emotional way, but at the same time, there are definitely like trend aspects to it as well, which is kind of ironic.
Of course. But
there are to everything.
Halloween is one of the most pagan holidays of them all.
Yeah, like you don't have to scratch very hard at the surface, the sort of surface vaguely Christian veneer to find the pagan
And
core.
it seems like that one's stayed maybe in its truer form throughout the ages, more so than Christmas, because that got taken over by Christians, and Easter and the solstice and all this. These were pagan holidays that were taken over by Christianity, and but the Halloween just seems to be straight up, well, it's evil. We can't, like, how do we turn evil into something that's Christian? But
they're like, it's just about not dead people. Be serious about the dead people or whatever. But no, I just have so many like magical memories. Like I remember being a little kid and getting super like pumped about Halloween really early on.
So weird to me that.
Yeah, I was so excited.
I get to
and it
see
wasn't
you like
even
getting
the thing
high off of like pumpkins.
Totally. No, it's just, and it's not even like, I didn't really like candy either that much. Like it was, although one year my dad accidentally gave away a bunch of candy I'd already collected, and it was really funny. At the time, it was not funny, but it was actually pretty funny. But also my dad, I remember, maybe it was the morning of Halloween and me getting up in the morning, and I was like 5 maybe, and he said, I just saw a skeleton run through the backyard, and I was like, so exciting.
That literally is just there's Santa's footprints in the snow.
Yeah,
that's what adults say to their kids, and you're like, I just seen a skeleton. Yeah.
So I guess that answers the question: are you born a goth, or are you conditioned to become a goth?
I don't know. It's nature and nurture. I think for some people,
pretty natural goth.
Yeah. So, Halloween, like the origins of it are pretty much, from what I read leading up to this episode.
Doing obviously. A little Wikipedia deep dive there, were you?
So it's like 2,000 years ago is when it started with the Celts, and they had a form of it, and it was called something Ho-Sok or something. It's spelt differently as well, and I never got too far into that, but that was where they think it started from. It was 2,000 years ago.
Because there's Samhain as well. I don't know if that's the same thing or a different thing. And that's still celebrated in Edinburgh, which is quite cool. But you have to buy tickets to it. Again, not very pagan.
This is the thing that always freaks me out when I get into a deep dive, is that Celts are not just specific to Scotland and Ireland. Like, like they're sort of
French.
Same with like
French
the Gauls
Celts
as well. It's like they're all across Europe and all this. And was it not even Germany at some points was where the Goths come from as well?
Yeah, the Goths are, Well, that's the, like, all these tribes moved around, and then it's like language stuff as well. Like, what do we call those guys? Because a lot of the times they're not naming themselves.
I wonder if anyone was old enough to see Halloween before it was turned into something that was about marketing and just selling more sweets.
Yeah.
When I wonder if they'd seen it. I mean, I wonder when the transition from an actual pagan-y sort of holiday to a full-on capitalist revolution.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think because there would be the like sort of Christianification interlude as well. But we still haven't lost really any of the pagan traditions, and we haven't really kept any of the Christian ones about it, unless you're like super Catholic or whatever, I suppose.
Says no one's super Catholic these days.
Yeah.
Gets you in a whole lot of trouble. Like, the most Catholic people are the ones that are doing all this. I don't want to talk about pedophiles again, but the most Catholic thing you can do, it seems.
Yes, I can't argue with you.
Diddle a kid. No comment from you.
I mean, yeah, it's at a certain point if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, and but yes, you're getting as bad about talking about pedophiles as I am about talking about capitalism. So
not quite. Not that bad.
It is every episode that I end up talking about capitalism.
Oh, I thought you meant
No. You're just on 2 in a row for pedophiles, as far as I know.
3.
3 in a row?
Not in a row, but 3 podcasts. I think the Smithy and Kieran, the last time we were on, we got into that.
Yes.
I think.
You did immediately. This time you got into it immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to quit doing that. Like, what? Maybe I just think of like something that is a hot topic.
Let's just ease everyone into this conversation.
Disarms people straight away. It's like, pedophiles.
Yes, known for making people relaxed and untense. Yeah.
So, happy Halloween, sisters. I googled that, and do you know he doesn't actually say that? He says sister.
Oh, sister.
Yes.
But there is more than one nun present. Yes.
Because I am quoting Highlander, which is one of the best movies of all time, probably.
We've never watched that together. Yeah. And obviously it's at least tenuously Halloween themed. Yeah. So.
Because they say Halloween in it. Does that then make it a Halloween movie?
I feel like it doesn't hurt.
I guess. Christmas movies only mention Christmas. They don't have to have snow in them.
Yeah. Because that would exclude like...
Because they have Christmas in the Sahara Desert. So.
They have Christmas everywhere, according to the calendar. Texas. They got Christmas in Texas. I bet they're super into it, but they don't really have snow.
Well, I had a Christmas in Louisiana when I went to...
Oh, yeah?
When I was in America.
Did y'all decorate your alligators?
Oh, I got blood on me.
Yeah, you have... I hate to break this to you, but you've got blood all over you.
Got blood on you. I'm thinking, did you make me a zombie? Like... I feel like Charlie would maybe sort of have a thing with a witch.
Oh, that makes sense.
Towards Halloween, then you made me into Charlie.
Yeah.
A zombie Charlie.
And I feel like Charlie is working really hard on making himself a zombie by just dying from eating cat food and sniffing glue. So
he's like, when you like imbibe someone, the thing you put in a dead body.
Oh, formaldehyde?
It's like he did that from the inside out.
Yeah, basically. He's pickling himself. Yeah, of people who maybe could only be explained by being zombies, essentially. Why isn't he dead?
So what do you think constitutes a Halloween movie then?
I've
been thinking about this all week.
I've been thinking about this too, and I was like idly flicking through stuff on Netflix and being like, this feels Halloween-y. This doesn't feel Halloween-y.
Okay. What doesn't? This
I'm just trying to...
podcast.
No. We've got a pumpkin. It's on fire. We're fine. Hey. Ooh, careful. See his brains. Oh.
Oh, I seen his brains.
Well,
I dropped them all over the floor as well when I was trying to empty
them. Yes, you did. Yeah. That was really funny, actually. Oh, no. Because I used to be really afraid of the insides of pumpkins when I was a kid.
Don't go in them. That's my advice. Did you like feeling like your mom and dad maybe forced you inside pumpkins? That's why I don't like them. I was like, get in there.
I was telling you they're bigger in Canada. So.
They just like they kind of like combine Easter and Halloween by putting you in it and rolling you down the hill in a pumpkin.
Well, I was thinking when I was cleaning him out, it would be way easier to scoop his guts out if I could get in there. So maybe they did that. Maybe that was.
Well, you do have those tiny little hands, so if anyone can do it, I trust you to take out The
I don't have
insides.
tiny hands, but I have long, skinny hands, which is
Ugh,
very
I know.
creepy sounding.
Ugh.
I'm a trash panda.
Just
What
like
can I
slender
say?
person.
Yeah.
Can't say slender man
Yeah.
anymore.
Slender person. Yeah, I can like. I'm very handy though that way.
That is skinny shaming if you call them slender as well. So you have to say bodied person.
Shape person.
A shaped person.
A shape person.
Yeah, so get to back to the what constitutes a Halloween
And to
movie.
me, it's not whether or not it mentions Halloween, although in the Venn diagram of Halloween movies that
Use your Halloween words.
like it's very likely they will mention Halloween
Okay.
if they have that mood, but
Yeah.
for me it is a mood.
So would you say Highlander is a Halloween movie?
I haven't seen it in a long time and I haven't considered it through that lens. The one way I can articulate this is if you watch a Halloween episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it feels very Halloweeny. Whereas if you watch a Halloween episode
minute.
of Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Wait a minute.
it's not very Halloweeny.
You're talking about a show that has a vampire slayer
Yes.
and vampires in
Yeah.
it.
So obviously
there's
there's an aspect to like
Extra Halloweeny episodes compared to the normal
they do have
Halloween
literal actual Halloween, because there's one where they get transformed into the costumes they're wearing, which is really, really funny.
Oh god, they're really scratching. They're really trying to clutch
It
at
was
straws.
really funny.
Eventually, with
It was
all the
great. But it just has a mood that to me is not conveyed. And it's
Okay.
that sort of, I guess it is, to me, an element of supernatural is required.
because this was one that I was struggling to figure out
Yeah.
what makes a Halloween movie.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have to be horror?
So I don't think it has to be horror.
Horror?
Horror.
But does it have to be horror to be then called a Halloween then? What are the
No,
what
I
are
don't-
the elements that do you think bring together and are what constitutes a Halloween movie?
See, to me, I think to differentiate from just like a free range horror movie, you need the night of Halloween to be in it. I think that's important. And there needs to be some sort of like climax of events revolving around the night of Halloween.
Right.
That to me is helpful. So like Hocus Pocus, Halloween night is like a major plot point. Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
I did get Charlotte to say that at work and it was great. And I said if she was a witch also, she would have to focus on her Hocus Pocus, which was good.
Charlotte is not going to focus on anyone. So
She's the
if
wrong
you
person.
have a French friend, then if you try and get them to say focus or Hocus Pocus is a very hilarious one for a French person.
It's wonderful. And for some reason, French people seem to like working it into conversations.
Yes.
Maybe I just notice it more, but it's delightful. It's brilliant. And I
You're
love it.
delightful.
Thank you.
So number one has to take place on Halloween night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what would you say is number two?
I think it needs to have an element of the supernatural.
Okay.
Or the suggestion of the supernatural.
Okay.
Maybe it's not really happening or something
So
like that.
Halloween, Michael Myers, that isn't really something.
I haven't seen Halloween.
I know. God,
Mm-hmm.
she's terrible
Yeah.
at seeing
But to me,
seminal
I'd say
movies.
that
For someone who loves
yeah.
Halloween, you haven't seen anything to do with it.
That's true. Well, no, I haven't seen anything that I thought would destroy my childhood. That's the
Halloween, essential,
yeah. I
quintessential,
don't like.
essential Halloween movie.
I am
right,
a major.
But doesn't have any supernatural elements
Yeah.
to it. It's just some weirdo who wants to kill his sister
Yeah.
or babysitter. I can't remember if it was
Baby sister.
his babysitter sisters. Kill his babysitter.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
And I guess I'd say that's why I haven't seen it, is I'm not really that interested in any of the, even though they're like great movies objectively,
Heresy.
like maniac movies,
Are
because I'm
you-
not like,
If you're listening to this
it's just people doing
and you
murder.
want to punch Laura in the
like,
face, then there'll be a
no,
lineup
but
after
listen,
the show, and I'll be first.
I'm not saying anyone's wrong to like them. I'm just saying to me, it's just people doing murder. You can see enough of that
Okay.
in the everyday.
Yeah.
But
But on Halloween.
yeah, which is just like a coincidence.
But it has the number one element.
It
to
does,
what
yeah.
you
And I'm
said.
not saying it's not a Halloween movie. It's just I'm not saying
Well, it's in the name.
it is in the name. It is literally the name. I'm just saying it wouldn't be one of my
It's
preferred
not called
Halloween.
Christmas.
To
and
me,
some
it
guy's going around
wouldn't-
with a turkey and
it's
smashing people in
A
the head.
Halloween movie, but it doesn't give me the Halloween feeling. So it doesn't pass that test.
But
for
you've
me.
not seen Halloween.
No, but it's partly because I'm not interested
Okay.
in it.
Friday the 13th.
Haven't seen it.
this show's over. I'm going to drag you through the bedroom, not because of that, because of
you're
what
just gonna
we're going to
murder
watch.
me.
I'm going to
Just
make
normal
you
murder.
force your eyes open and
Yeah.
make you watch all of
I'm
these
not, like,
movies.
against it either. There are a lot of movies to watch, and those aren't the ones that I'm that interested in.
Takes place on Friday the 13th,
So it's definitely not Halloween.
but it has supernatural elements
Mm-hmm.
because the guy's dead and he comes back to kill all these kids. He comes out of the lake like
Yeah.
Excalibur.
I
Or
have
Guinevere.
seen. There's even paintings about that, which
Yeah.
I've seen, but
Of who?
from Friday the 13th. What's his name? Peter Doig does a really good painting of a scene from that.
Okay, so if you are very choosy about what you think is a really good Halloween movie or what constitutes a Halloween movie, what would you say are your top 3 Halloween movies?
That's really difficult. Well, Ginger Snaps is my first one, which you haven't seen,
No
and
one's
you're
ever-
very sassy about.
No one's ever heard of it.
It's a cult movie. No one's ever heard of you.
Halloween and Friday the 13th are cult movies.
I think they're too popular to be considered cult movies. No?
Why
Maybe.
aren't cult movies popular?
I think they're movies that became popular after they were
Like,
released.
Let's
technically.
not get into the minutiae
Okay.
of cult movies, right?
Mhm.
Let's keep this baby rolling.
Yeah. And like I say, I don't have anything against them. They're not my cup of tea usually. I'd watch them. I just haven't yet.
Okay.
You know, I'm not
so
that
top
old.
3.
It's really hard. Well, I have to say Hocus Pocus is up there now. I just absolutely loved
Really?
it. Yeah, it was so good. It was so my jam. It's brilliant.
That just to sort of talk about that one. I was always sort of scared showing you that movie because
Mhm.
I thought maybe it was just I love it because I was younger when I saw
Yeah.
it. And there's this effect with the movies like that when you see them when you're very young and you watch them when you're older, you still love them.
Yeah.
But if someone who hasn't seen them, like me and Labyrinth, I don't get the Labyrinth
Yeah.
obsession. I hate it.
It is
I think-
also weird.
I
but
think it's. I mean, the Jim Henson stuff. You know, it's all his
Mhm.
puppet.
you just don't appreciate David Bowie's cod piece.
Is what?
Cod piece.
Huh. He keeps fish in his
Perhaps.
his sandwich.
If that's what you want to call it.
He has a fish sandwich.
No one outside of Scotland is going to get that.
Okay, I'll have to explain. Cod is a fish.
That's not the part they won't get. A piece in America is a gun. So,
Or your
or that,
yeah,
yeah.
your piece.
Which is what we're actually talking about anyway.
So
Yeah, and that.
Labyrinth, don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't watch it when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I know people that just, if I said that in front of them, I probably would get a cod piece to the face.
Yeah. Yeah, people are like intense about it.
And Hocus Pocus, even me watching it later on, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again,
Yeah.
me being older, but obviously, what did you think of it?
I just loved it. Because that, to also reframe the Halloween and Friday the 13th stuff, is, to me, Halloween is a kid's holiday, and I don't mind the UK version where it's for grown-ups to get drunk and whatever, but to me it's for kids.
Yeah.
And so to me, something that a kid could conceivably watch. Ginger Snaps is like probably not really, but I saw it when I was like 15 or something. But Hocus Pocus, it has those elements of like magic and horror and the sort of attractiveness of the magic in it, I think, because I
Right.
love the Sarah Jessica Parker character, which I never thought I'd say.
I think Ginger Snaps. I was like,
No, Hocus Pocus. Yeah, that there is that element of like, it's not that the supernatural thing is the really scary
Yeah.
thing. It's like attractive as well. And it's actually the same in Ginger Snaps. It's like a powerful force.
Yeah.
So it's sort of attracting. It's not just, scary, constantly frightened.
so bottom line, that you loved it.
Yeah, I just totally loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah,
And
I really enjoyed it.
As I'm older now, I really appreciated the Sarah Jessica Parker character in it more this time.
Didn't have the slightest idea she could act,
I
first
know.
of all.
Like, she's
and she's
amazing
so
in this.
lovely in it. Yeah.
She's like batshit crazy.
Yeah, she's just crazy, but she's like, there's something really appealing about her as well.
And
yeah.
spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie now, then go fuck yourself. There's a scene in the movie where Sarah eats a spider, and she told someone on a talk show that she actually
ate a spider.
ate the spider on set.
There's some good trivia about that film. I read also.
She wouldn't get away with that now.
No, it's cruelty to animals. And also, she's probably watching her weight.
Yeah, putting spiders in a horse's mouth. Yeah,
I don't
she
know if I
gets
can-
called a horse. Sorry.
Oh yeah, she did well. But she has a perfect face to play a pretty witch. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
because she's got a nose. It's a firm, definite nose. But
I didn't ever imagine that she was that tiny.
yeah,
She's like so young in it, I guess. Maybe she's like
she's always
20s.
been really wee though.
The only thing I've watched with her in it is this, and that was when I was very young.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I don't have the image of her from
Spoiler
that.
alert, she's still really wee.
Yeah, because I didn't watch that one where
Yeah.
she was a New York slut, I think was the premise, was it?
Oh, slut shaming, rude. And on
Sluts
this night
are
of all
good.
nights.
Sluts are good. Everyone has to have their slut phase.
She was looking for love, apparently.
And in Hocus Pocus.
She was looking for it
Boys.
everywhere. Yeah, I love that in the film. She's like, boys. She's just delightful in it. Oh.
So, first one.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first one that you said with your favorite movie?
Ginger Snaps.
Number 2, Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
No, that's quite a big call. Are you saying all-time like favorite Halloween movies?
I'm having a really hard time thinking now of.
Well, you're telling me.
Because I have, again, other films that would get me in the Halloween-y mood, but that aren't what I would say strictly like 10 out of 10 Halloween films. Like Blade, I watched on Halloween a couple of years ago, and it was brilliant. It's perfect Halloween mood, but it's not like a
Blade
Halloween film. Blade's wonderful. I love it. It's one of my favorite films. It's
But
one of the films I've seen the most. But yeah, there is Supernatural, but there isn't Halloween.
And it's a Marvel movie as well.
Yeah.
Well,
technically. It to me has that, again, the element of like the bad guys are more fun than the good guys, and the good guy's a bad guy. So it's that, again, the dark side of things is really prominent, which I like.
Yeah. Number 3.
I guess I'd have to go Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right. Yeah, that is the one.
Yeah. Which actually the first time I saw it, I didn't like it when I was a kid, but it grew on me a lot.
I didn't see it till I was older.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But like I thoroughly enjoyed it because it's just, it's
great.
It's
yeah, it is.
You know.
Yeah. And that was the first thing I did when I got up this morning and you were away for work, is I put on This Is Halloween on YouTube.
What is This Is Halloween?
The song from Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not that like some people, like some girls are completely obsessed.
Some girls,
with
eh?
Like there's people that probably want to have sex with Jack Skellington.
There's people who want to have sex with everything.
But there's like girls that are super obsessed with it.
Hot Topic definitely sells like lunch boxes with him on it. And
Vibrators,
stuff,
probably.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Why?
I feel like
thin and cold.
It is for children, though. Technically, the film.
Not really.
So I feel like
Tim Burton does not make children's movies.
Well, that's also like every Tim Burton film is a Halloween film, regardless of whether or not it has anything to do with anything, because
I think his whole life is just
Halloween as a person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can I give my 3?
Yes.
I think I'd have to say number 1, Nightmare on Elm Street,
which I haven't seen.
because that was the first sort of scary movie that I'd ever seen, and I saw it. I saw it at a very young age. I think it was like 5.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is that why you're like you are?
What do you mean? Like
I don't
trying
know.
to like claw you in your dreams.
Well, you do that actually. Yes.
I do not do anything. We're gonna get. Should we get into dreams actually?
Yes, we totally should.
Nightmare on Elm Street, just an absolute masterpiece.
Okay.
And it has Johnny Depp in it, a young.
Oh my god, really?
Young Johnny Depp.
Okay, sold. I'll watch it. Well, I like Dreams as well.
Before
That's one that I would watch.
Before he was fat and coked out, you know.
Yeah, a total maniac.
Just downing $100 bottles of wine just for the sake of it.
Oh, he would laugh at you for thinking he drinks $100 bottles of wine. He brushes his teeth with $100 bottles of wine.
It's hard because there's so many that I love. I think there's one that's very underrated to me, and it has to be. It's hard to put it down to 3. But the Candyman. Right?
That I have seen. That is scary.
Candyman.
Yeah.
People haven't seen it. It is very sort of. It's one of the ones that was quite disturbing to me when I watched it.
Yeah, it freaked me out. Yeah.
Like I watched it at a very young age again. And it did really like. There's just something so ominous and well, not even ominous, but like foreboding and like a impending sense of doom, you know,
Yeah.
the whole movie.
And the images are really strong in that. Like, I feel like that was one that it was on TV when I was really young, and I could barely watch it. Like, I think I was not looking for a lot of it, but I still have really strong images in my head from it.
And for something that's supposed to be straight up like a horror movie, there's like the themes of it is like to do with slavery and someone who used to be a slave.
Yeah.
I think he got caught having sex with someone, or was in love with like a white girl on the plantation, and they like chopped his hand off and like let all these bees like eat him and stuff.
Yeah, I remember the bees from the
the bees.
Calm down, Nicholas.
Nicholas.
That's still one of my favorite things on the internet is the supercut of Nicolas Cage just flipping his shit.
No one ever says the Wicker Man, that one, for Halloween.
That's because it's not a good film.
The bees! And there's no bees in his helmet.
No.
He's a method actor. He has to have bees in his helmet.
He does.
For him to be able to actually say there's bees in his helmet. If you feed Nicolas Cage no bees, he's not gonna act like he has bees in his hat. He's a method actor, god.
I just had another idea, but continue.
Number 2, what did I say? Candyman.
Candyman, yeah.
There's a second one that's not that great, and I've not watched Candyman since I watched it when I was.
No, I haven't seen it since it completely horrified me as like a preteen. So.
The third one is hard for me. I mean, Scream.
Scream is good, actually. Yeah, Scream is a classic. I'll accept that.
Classic.
Again, to me, those are all too scary to be classic Halloween films because
we're old now. We're old now.
I know.
These movies are like classics now.
Yeah, I know.
And Scream is that definite transition into the 21st century in terms of Halloween horror movies. So
yeah,
but it doesn't make my list. I think
it's critically, like, to me, it's a pretty sound film in terms of it's really aware of genre and like I think it's a really good film actually.
It definitely broke the mold and it was very meta.
Yeah, and that's why I like it. Like it's got a brain even though it's kind of doing. It's sort of like a pre Cabin in the Woods. It's like playing with genre and like archetypes and but it's also super entertaining. So it fulfills that kind of like, I don't know, like classic literary workplace where it's like entertaining if you're not looking at it critically, but it's robust critically as well.
And it gave host a spin-off, which was the Scary Movies, which is amazing.
Oh God, which I saw one of it I really didn't like, but I was a bit too young for it probably.
The first one itself is like ironically very sort of groundbreaking.
Yeah, I guess because it was
as much as the actual Scream movie was groundbreaking, so was that movie.
Yeah, I just don't like it. That's the difference.
So thirdly, sorry, I'm starting to, this is quite a heavy beer.
It is definitely not. This is like,
it's
it's
Halloween.
6.5.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
I thought this was like one of those little 4% whatevers.
Happy Halloween, sister. I'm glad I'm
Another film I'm going to throw in here just for mood. Again,
my third one.
Oh, you just did your third one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, what did I do?
You did
I didn't do
Scream. Oh, okay, never mind.
I mentioned it as an example of modern sort of Halloween movies. You could probably, I think Cabin in the Woods might become a Halloween movie though.
Yeah, it could do. It doesn't have the right mood for me personally. It's a really good movie. I love it, but
I think the Kurt Russell's The Thing.
See, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen it?
No, I've seen the 1950s one, which I love, and it's one of my favorite films.
You haven't seen the middle thing?
No, I haven't seen the middle thing. I've seen
always the
first thing and the last thing, but I haven't seen the middle thing. Okay, so we should totally watch that. That's John Carpenter, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And he's another like walking, talking Halloween person. Like he just is a Halloween person.
No, I hate horror, right? Because to me, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't make me scared. It doesn't make me feel threatened or anything. And sometimes I think I put this down to that I have no imagination, so it just doesn't do anything, you know.
That's funny.
But I like ones that push the genre, and John Carpenter's The Thing is just the animatronics and the actual story was amazing, and where Kurt Russell, and there's lots of like little things in the whole movie that just make it amazing.
Oh, it's been on my list for ages, but I have not seen that one. I love the old one, because it's, to me, the classic, for me, a Halloween aside, a horror film where they know what to show you and what not to show you. And the first time I saw it, I genuinely thought I remembered things from it that they don't actually show in the film. Like I'd like fully tripped out imagining all this horrible stuff that's not actually in the film. And it's that, because I love anything like Arctic as well. So it totally ticks all my boxes for like a horror film.
You were going to add something, you said.
Well, I was going to throw one in mood-wise, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola one, that to me is perfect for mood. But Halloween is not.
I was thinking about that because I was trying to cover like different, because the three main sort of archetypes of Halloween is vampires, werewolves, and Frankenstein's monster.
Yes, his monster, not him. He's not in it.
Mary Shelley's bastard son.
Mary Shelley's, Mary Shelley's
the subheading on Frankenstein. Mary Shelley's bastard son.
Pretty much. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. And some witches, a side of witches. But the main like Hammer horror, like monster movie, monsters.
So I was trying to cover those bases in terms of movies that I like with those genres. So the vampire one would have to be What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah. Oh God, so good. Love it.
Or the other one with Loki. What's that one?
Oh, Only Lovers Left Alive.
Only Lovers Left Alive.
Which is one of my favorite films of all time.
Those are great movies to watch back to back.
Yes, completely. That's a perfect like omnibus.
And the different sides of the coin. You know, the vampire coin.
Yeah.
The vampire coin.
That's coin that bites you.
2 sheep. 3 sheep.
And we haven't even had any candy, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
So definitely one to watch. And Bram Stoker for sort of like real gritty sort of vampire movie. That's
but it's so romantic as well, and it's a really good balance of like gross and weird, and then romantic, which
it's got a lot of great actors as well in it.
It does.
For me, it was quite a freaky movie to watch when I was younger. A lot of it sort of really did freak me out, especially the story at the start with Gary Oldman in the suit. You know, as Vlad.
His suit's so scary.
It looks like muscle, but it's so weird.
It's really freaky.
Great movie. So, what would you say in the vampire sort of genre? What would be your greatest movies?
Other than the ones you've just said, which would be my top 3 probably. I'm a big Underworld fan. I'm not gonna lie, and that's got werewolves in it. First Underworld, like low budget, just totally indulgent. Love it. Blade as well. We already talked about.
Blade's got someone posted on Facebook. I think it was Neil Stutchbury who was on this podcast before, and who's a massive film buff.
Yeah.
But he posed a question on Facebook, and what is the sort of the best intro in a movie that is like a sort of shoot 'em up type scene, you know, the one where they like just with a gun go through something like a whole stage of people.
Yeah.
And it's like you see it in a lot of movies. This is the sort of intro to the movie.
Yeah.
And I posed that Blade, the first Blade, even though it is a blade, a sword.
Yeah, but it's the same. It fulfills the same purpose. And in the disco with
disco. How old are you?
Well, that's like what it is. It's a blood
rave.
Disco.
It's a
fine.
rave.
It's a rave. Yeah.
They were at the disco, and then there was panic at the disco.
There was panic at that disco.
Were they wearing pantalones?
You're a pantalone. But yeah, and I like the way that's filmed is like you follow this arsehole in and you don't know what's going on. Because it like you're essentially, even though he's a numpty, but you're the dude who comes there with the chick, the ginger girl. I think she's ginger. Yeah. Ginger snaps. And so it's like he's the audience and he doesn't know what's going on. And then it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And yeah, it's great. It's a really good scene. I love it. The music's great.
So then on to werewolves. Like, what's the favorite song?
Ginger snaps. There we go.
I've not seen that.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that tonight. I'm gonna make you.
You've been roasted. Bang. Oscar, your heart sucks. Bang.
Done. I do actually, back to Underworld, I like that they use in the first film physical, actual stupid werewolf puppets because it looks so much better than CGI. I love the werewolf puppets.
For me, it has to be, what's the one set in Scotland? Something Dogs.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I really want to see that.
It's
okay.
Like an independent movie. What's it called? Something Dog Soldiers.
Yeah. I've wanted to see that for ages, but I haven't seen it. Okay.
And to me, like, if anyone hasn't watched this, it's set in the UK. It has a very sort of independent vibe to it, and it has, even though 28 Days Later had a big budget, it still had that sort of grittiness to it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel big
and
budget.
It feels very British, but it has like it feels very Hollywood at the same time. Yeah, Dog Soldiers. I think it's Dog Soldiers.
I think that's what you said, I think.
So it's werewolves in Scotland.
An aside here, not a film, but a short story, but there's a Neil Gaiman short story, your favorite author to say the name of, Neil Gaiman. And it involves...
Does he kneel in gay men?
For God's sake.
Happy
Keep
Halloween,
it together.
sisters.
But it's a short story, and it's sort of a retelling of Beowulf, but
Okay.
it has a werewolf in it as well, and it's told in verse. So it's really like...
Would you say it's Beowulf?
It is Beowulf, exactly. It's very like opaque what's actually going on, but the first scene is you meet your hero, and it's from his perspective, and you don't know what his deal is, and he is feeling really ill, and you assume he's hungover or something. And again, you're hearing all this in verse from his perspective, so it's really opaque, and he goes to the bathroom and barfs up a foot. It's like a dog's foot, and he was like, "Oh my God, what did I do last night?" And it turns out it's because he's a werewolf, but it's so gross.
Who just says,
so
"What
good.
did I do last night?"
Yeah,
Would
exactly.
you barf up?
But that's his life, like. But it's a wonderful, like, again, getting you in actually very few sentences to like, oh, a normal day, and oh my God, what's going on? And then it's also Beowulf. So
and the one that flipped it on its head and totally took it in a great direction was the original American Werewolf in London.
Oh, that's such a good film as well, actually. That's great.
Animatronics as well.
Yeah, that's a Halloweeny film to me.
Yeah.
That's another one that strikes the mood.
And finally, I mean, do we go with Frankenstein's monster? Because there's not that much in terms of movies.
Well, it's interesting because if you compare him to, say, witches, there isn't really folklore other than if you get into like golems and stuff like that. There isn't really folklore about Frankenstein. It's invented by Mary Shelley.
It's come out from a book,
but at the same time, it's so powerful because I think it really speaks to our modern era.
Yeah, it's like that sort of handing off from being people who are working and sort of in the era where there's no science and you don't know that like bacteria is killing you, or you don't know to wash your hands, and the bubonic plague was like however many years before that. And it's transitioning into the scientific era, and a lot of people are God-fearing people and think that's not right or natural.
And there was like proper panic at that time about how to handle like studying anatomy, for instance. It's really fascinating. It's one of my big nerdy deep wells of interest, actually.
So what would you say is your favorite sort of representations of that?
This is a weird, because it's not the most entertaining, but the original Boris Karloff Frankenstein movie, because I find it fascinating because there was a conflict between the people making the movie, and they couldn't decide amongst them whether to make the Frankenstein monster sympathetic or just a pure evil monster.
Right.
And both of those tensions come out in the movie unintentionally. And there is like weird stuff in terms of the editing where like one side wanted him to be sympathetic and the other side didn't want him to be sympathetic. And I find it fascinating to watch as a movie because it's like it's not even an unreliable narrator. It's like unreliable, like your God is unreliable basically. And it sort of mirrors the actual conflict within the story because it's like, you're a creator, like what are your responsibilities? Which I find super fascinating. So there's a lot of really ambiguous like aspects to the film because it's two conflicting voices trying to tell a story completely unintentionally. So that totally blows my little mind. And the other one I'd say I like a lot. Well, I really liked the one you showed me, the one with De Niro.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the one where Robert De Niro, not a lot of people know that Robert De Niro fucking played Frankenstein.
Yeah, and I studied this shit and I had no idea that movie, but it's really good. It's super good. And also the TV series Penny Dreadful. There's a really good turn with Frankenstein in there when you meet his monster initially in the first season, and he's like a gentle soul and full of wonder. And then it turns out that that's not the first one he created. And you meet the second one, and you meet him because. Oh, okay. And spoiler alert, but he basically, you come and you're with what turns out to be the second monster on his first day alive, and he's looking around at the city, and you're experiencing all the wonder of it with him, and it's this beautiful light, and it's overwhelming, but it's amazing. And then the first child turns up and basically rips him in half, like right down the middle, like a piece of paper. And it turns out he was probably smarter, but a lot darker, and was abandoned, and is now taking out his wrath basically on Frankenstein. And it's really, really, really good. Really good acting. I can't remember that Rory something is the actor, but
for me it would probably have to be the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the one with Robert De Niro. And there's one I saw that was an independent movie. For the life of me, I can't even remember the name. But I had to download it from some weird website.
Was it a pornography? Did you have to watch it on your phonograph?
Frankie Einstein is the name of it. No. And it was sort of a found footage type movie.
Oh.
And it basically said that this story wasn't of Frankenstein. Mary Shelley didn't come up with it. She was just retelling an ancient story, and which was Frankenstein's monster. And these two guys were theorizing that something was happening along the Arctic line.
Oh, you mentioned. I want to see this one as well,
because he doesn't have, he can stay in the cold. He's not going to get killed by the frost or whatever. There's like an exact line that people are getting killed and animals en masse. It's not the far reach of the North Pole, but it's right down on the sort of where it becomes the Arctic. And they just think it's a bullshit story all the way up until they get to this place. And it's really good. Like, you never get to really see anything.
Which I always like.
It was good, like, to have Frankenstein as a found footage type
That's
horror.
cool. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do you have any funny Halloween stories?
No, probably just the one that was my dad's candy recycling, which was I had gone out collecting candy. I was like 8 or something maybe, and I'd brought all my candy back and gone out again because I had too much candy because I'm awesome at trick-or-treating. Oh yeah. And my dad was manning the door for trick-or-treaters at home.
I thought meant he was bouncing, like, come on, kid, get out.
Well,
of
pretty
here.
much, yeah. Oh, that just reminded me of another really funny story. But he didn't realize that the candy I'd brought back was not the candy to give out to trick-or-treaters, so he gave away all my candy. And I really didn't actually mind that much, but it was like the shock of it. I guess as a kid, you just assume your parents are just, And then I felt way more upset about him being upset after, so it was like, oh my God. But the really funny one was one via my parents, and it was before I was born, and it was maybe one of their first, they'll correct me if I'm wrong, Halloweens at the house. And a little girl came up, and she was with her dad, and he stayed down at the bottom of the steps up to the front door, and she came up, and she was dressed as like a little fairy or something like that, and she was clearly absolutely terrified. And she comes up to the door and just is mute. And my dad, trying to encourage her to do the whole trick or treat thing, says, "What do you say?" And she goes, "Please." Yeah.
That pertains to that your dad is a scary dude. Yeah. So my story is, in my sort of, I have only been to one Halloween party where I successfully dressed up, because usually I would get so annoyed with the whole process.
You've been to maybe more than one now, because we did it last year.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Two now.
But anyway, yes.
But growing up, like, there was plenty going on. But I think the sort of the one where it was like, screw this, I'm just not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
It was when I was living in Dundee, and we had I think it was just before I moved into the flat. So my two friends were living in this apartment, and they organized a Halloween party, and they planned it for months. They did really well with it. Like, the flat looked amazing, but the whole day leading up to this, I'm still trying to decide what I want to be. And I think because my friend Steve, he's quite small and thin and has like a little emo haircut,
Not that you're like.
We decided to go as Doc Brown and Marty McFly from Back to the Future.
That's sweet.
Because he had a denim jacket, and I think he was like, right, I'll wear this. And my friend had a lab coat because he did he was a biochemist. So I was like, right, perfect, I'll be Doc Brown. So that whole day I was looking for a wig, and so was my friend Steve-O, so he could look like Marty McFly more. So he found one which was really good, but a bit bigger and fluffier, and I found this one that was white. And I get back to the apartment because I don't try it on there. I just think, oh, this looks like an old man. Like, it very much looks like Doc Brown. I'm gonna look amazing tonight. So get out of the package. I put it on. It's like a bald cap, and it's so small. It barely fit. Like, it was stretching my head up.
Was it American?
Pretty much. And I threw it on the floor, and I was like, fuck this. I'm not going to Halloween. And then I just went home, and I never went to Halloween party.
You just put like baby powder in your hair or something if you could kidnap a baby, I guess.
So that kind of threw off the whole what Steve-O was going to go as.
Oh yeah, because then he was just like a random idiot.
No, he just went as Mel Gibson in like Lethal Weapon because the hair like looked like Mel Gibson as well.
That's funny.
Cheers.
Skull.
Okay.
We are now getting more pagan here. We've got a good old black metal brewery. Will o' the Wisp.
I wouldn't. Tastes like bacon.
It's smoked. It does though. It smells like bacon.
Have you tasted it? Or smoked?
Yeah, it does taste like bacon.
Smoked bacon or smoked salmon.
Smoked anything.
Okay, so I think we should reveal what we're going to be doing.
Oh yeah.
So
cool.
As it's Halloween, this is going to be beneficial for people who are watching on Facebook and YouTube. But if you're listening, we'll try and narrate as we go along.
Yes.
So I bought this Ouija board off of Amazon. They sell them.
The evil demons who sell Ouija boards on Amazon?
Ouija boards.
Yes.
I thought they were all mystic. I thought you had to like import them from Transylvania.
Yeah, I thought you had to inherit them from like a dead great aunt or something. But apparently not.
So I got this for £10 from Amazon. That was a bargain.
Not from the Amazons or the Amazon from Amazon.
No.
Yeah.
I wish I got it from the Amazons.
Yeah.
And it came with this thank you for your purchase.
Really?
No.
Is it an evil thank you?
No.
Aww.
But it says this Ouija board is made of medium density fiber board, MDF. And it's engineered wood product made by breaking down hardwood. It just tells you about the wood.
What
basically.
MDF is. They just Googled what MDF is and put it on the thing. Is the alphabet right
like,
on this shit?
Thank you for your purchase. And it's made out of MDMF. Here's the history of MDMF. So you might want to read this. Okay.
Oh, yeah? Which bit?
So it's step by step.
All right.
So I have never done a Ouija board.
I have, but it's been a while.
Okay, should we maybe move the pumpkin out the way?
I think he can handle it.
Just so people can somewhat see.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant he might interfere. Okay, so one.
What had been your sort of interactions and thoughts, and what you thought Ouija board was growing up?
Well, I definitely knew someone who had one growing up because we messed around with it. I don't remember who. I remember thinking at the time, someone is moving the thing, obviously, which is how it works. Spoiler alert. I do like in Paranormal Activity, there's the scene when the Ouija board goes on fire.
Yeah.
That actually scared the shit out of me when I watched it. That movie actually like genuinely really scared me, but I also thought it was an interesting movie.
So if the lights flicker or we die, then it's
or if
been
we go on fire.
Great. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. For some reason, as someone who really does not believe in ghosts or whatever at all, maybe just for the aesthetic qualities, mad for seances. I love a good seance. Yeah. So cool.
But you love Victorians, so.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of lame, but I do like the aesthetic, like I say. Just like the really like opiumed out Victorians. Yeah.
Well, when I was growing up, until I became a bit more skeptical, I definitely thought that the Ouija board was a direct portal. To evil, all evil. And
interesting.
Anything that was shown in movies about a Ouija board, I believed.
That is interesting. That's funny. I was going to say,
do you know why it's called Ouija board?
No, other than it sounds like they're saying yes twice, but
I think the guy that invented it, he spelled out Ouija with this when they asked him what the name of this contraption was. And he ended up spelling Ouija. And they were like, what does that mean? And it means good luck, as in like, good luck finding out what that means.
Yeah. I think he was speaking to a Swiss German spirit who said yes in French and then yes in German. That's my theory.
So if you haven't done this, we're going to follow the steps that were sent by us.
So first we have to grab a few friends. It can be technically played alone, but it's best to play with at least one other person. Good thing we have two. And it's especially good if it's a dark and stormy night. And it is dark because it's night and it's Halloween, which is like a psychic storm. So that's cool. And if we had too many people, we might confuse the spirits.
Okay. I do get confused myself.
Cool. We need to set the mood before getting down to business.
Candles.
Is he still lit? Okay,
pumpkins,
awesome.
Beer. Zombie tape. Blood.
Yeah.
Fake blood.
Usually I'd want to make it dark and have some more candles and stuff, but then our viewers, if any, couldn't see us, so that would be perverse. They're basically mitigating for if it doesn't work. They're saying Ouija can be all about timing. Sometimes the board is ultra responsive and other times it seems asleep. It's best to try it at night or into the wee hours of the morning. Remove all distractions. If you have any children, throw them out the window. Turn the TV off.
Is that what it says?
They don't say throw them out the window. No, I'm editorializing. A seance requires your undivided attention in order to be successful. Turn your phones off.
You guys bugger off. I'm sure that's probably not in the old instructions. Turn your phones off, guys.
I think they just mean maybe put it on silent.
Do you just want to blast this out?
Yeah, let's just look at what we're supposed to actually like. We need to be patient. We don't need to move the planchette.
Is this your rules, or are you just?
No, that's number 4. Be patient. Sometimes the spirit needs a minute to warm up.
I bet he does. Hey, that's what she said. Am I right, guys and girls?
We don't need to, guys and ghouls. Lol. We don't need to move the planchette to warm it up. Apparently that's a myth. Thanks, guys. Some spirits move it faster than others.
Can I just wing it?
No, let's wait until we get to, we have to be polite. Be friendly. Don't get mad if we don't get the answers we want. This is much like when speaking to a bartender. Please remember these things. Don't get mad if you don't get the answers you want. Start simply. It's best not to bombard your spirit with questions on the content and length of your next history exam.
That's what she said.
Start simple, like a normal conversation. So we should have short, easy answers to start with. How many spirits are in the room? Are you a good spirit? What is your name? Don't be a creep, basically. Be careful what you wish for, is what they say. You are creeping it real. Creep it real. Yes.
Right. I think we should just get to it.
We need to designate one person to ask all the questions.
I think you should ask the questions.
Okay, cool.
Or I'll do it, actually.
You're already confusing the spirits.
I'll do it.
Okay. But you have to remember to be polite and simple.
Okay.
And we have to place our fingers.
Very polite and simple.
We need to start on the G space, lol.
The G string.
Yeah.
The G space.
That's what they say. I'm not making it up. And we have to place our fingers on the planchette. Index and middle on the planchette. And then we slowly move it. We move it in circles to let the board warm up, which they said is bullshit, but whatever, we'll do what they say. And concentrate on what you want to ask. We rest our fingers on it firmly, but without too much force. Blah, blah.
Right, let's do it.
Cool.
Okay. Let's do it. Fingers.
They're covering if we get rude. Okay. Left or right hand? I'm going to left. Yeah.
So, guys, if this cuts out, we're dead. So we move it around in circles?
Yeah. And then you have to think of a question to ask, but start off simple and be respectful. I'm so Canadian that I'm worried about offending imaginary ghosts. Have you thought of a question?
I have.
Yes. And you have to move it, move it gently. Yeah. What's the question you want to ask? You have to say it.
Okay. Is there anyone there?
That's a good question. Okay, and then let's just...
Are you moving it?
not moving it. Are you moving it?
No,
I don't believe you. You're moving it.
I'm not.
We got a 1 there. That could be a thing. You're moving it.
I'm
Stop
not.
it.
What did it spell out?
It said 1 and then it wiggled around.
No, it said fuck.
No, it didn't. You're an unreliable narrator.
Okay. Is there anyone? Why do you have to say it?
You're
that
not
troll?
being respectful.
Okay. I am being very respectful. Are ghosts real? Okay.
You're moving it.
Not moving it.
Well, then a ghost just told us ghosts are definitely not real, which I feel like the ghost needs.
Okay.
Like
okay.
some
So
friends.
we're basically doing this with our index and middle finger. Nothing's really happening. Do you want to ask a question?
Should I?
Yeah.
What if we confuse the spirits because we've
Well,
changed
you're confusing
our...
me, so.
Okay. We'll try again. Is anyone there? Stop it. You're definitely doing it.
Okay.
The weird thing is it's getting hot. The planchette's getting hot.
Okay.
Which
I
is
don't
funny.
stop
I think
saying
it's just-
planchette. I don't know what that is.
This thing, the thing that looks like a penguin.
It's not made of NDMF.
It's not.
Is God a cunt? Oh, yes.
Oh,
big
yeah,
yes.
apparently, yeah. No, it actually is, yeah. It's blocked out the S there.
If anyone is there, can they flicker the lights?
I think they'll be busy flickering the lights. They're not going to say.
Flicking
What
their bean, probably.
Oh.
Their ghost bean.
You're not being respectful.
You're not moving it!
No one's supposed to move it. We're supposed to let the spirits. So, for anyone who's not watching, Darren is at a complete meltdown.
So I think the lesson we all learned here, folks, is there's no such thing as ghosts. And the Ouija board was made by some Chinese guy in the late 1900s.
That is true.
Bullshit.
It is not an
Bullshit,
old-timey thing.
folks. Okay.
That was a ghost murdering Darren. FYI.
On that note, it's been good.
Is that us?
Special Halloween episode is now over.
It's over now.
And is there anything you want to say? Like,
Happy Halloween,
should
sister.
we say
Cheers.
Happy Halloween, sister? You're
Cheers.
supposed to say it at the same time.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Happy
Halloween, sister.
Yeah, and catch you guys next time and have a great Halloween, you ghosts and ghouls.
Ooh.
Ciao.
Spooky, scary.